Well, here we are, the last two films of this marathon. These two films are responsible for the new era of Dragon Ball that we're currently seeing right now. They are the first new stories in 17 years to come out of the franchise. And now we're gonna see how they hold up a few years later. So, let's get started. Taking place after the fight with Majin Buu, Battle of Gods brings out a new character known as Beerus, who is again, the strongest in the universe. Rather than focusing on our main characters as the center of attention, the story more follows Beerus attempting to find out who the legendary Super Saiyan God is, hoping to find a strong rival to fight against him. The film itself is literally a love song to fans of the series, containing absolutely everything that I would want in a film. The animation is some of the best that Dragon Ball has ever looked, and the fights are incredible as always. The film really shows off the power of Beerus and the new Super Saiyan God transformation, and it makes the fights one of the coolest parts of the film. Beerus and Whis are honestly some of the most fantastic additions to the universe, with both of them really moving up as some of my absolute favorite characters. The humor of the film is also fantastic for any fan, but that's also one of the major problems with the movie. It requires you to already be a fan of the series and will do little for people who don't already care for Dragon Ball. For example, a fan may love the fact that the Pilaf gang came back, but for someone who doesn't know anything about Dragon Ball, it seemed like the film derailed itself for 15 minutes. As a film itself, it has its share of problems. As with the main series, there are some awkward dubbing moments and very quirky dialogue, but a lot less animation glitches than the past movies have. But moving on from that, the film is excellently paced, and it never takes itself too seriously. The stakes are very high, of course, with the destruction of Earth being on the line, but it's done in such a playful way that you can't help but have a lot of fun with it. And you can tell that the story writers were also having a blast writing these characters. Next to Fusion Reborn, this is probably one of my favorite pieces of Dragon Ball media. It captures every highlight that I have with the Dragon Ball franchise, while also avoiding a lot of the quirks that I just really don't like about it. While the average viewer might get lost here or there, I would easily say this film is a solid 7 out of 10. But hey, if you're a fan, this is honestly the perfect 10 out of 10. Exactly what you want from the franchise. I guarantee you. While Battle of Gods announcement was really out of nowhere and a welcome return to the franchise, Resurrection F was announced and released only a year later. Not only that, but the week of the film's release, they also announced Dragon Ball Super, which came out only 2 months after the film came out. So unlike Battle of Gods, which seemed like a love letter to fans of the franchise eager for more stories in the series, something about Resurrection F just seemed different. Especially since rather than a new villain, it opted to bring back Frieza. And I'm not saying Frieza isn't a fun character. The main problem is that at this point, after nearly 20 years, Frieza isn't much of a character that poses a threat. We've seen Pikkon wipe the floor with him, we've seen Goku as a kid beat him up in GT, and he even was one-shotted by Gohan in Fusion Reborn. I'm not saying he isn't a great villain, I'm just saying he became outclassed in the series very quickly. Especially since he became a measuring stick for almost every character in the series after him. And even with his new transformation, I can't help but shake this feeling. Like Battle of Gods, we get a new transformation with Goku, and with that we already feel like he's stronger than Frieza again. Never do I feel like Goku or Vegeta was in trouble with him despite the power increase. Especially seeing Frieza cower at the sight of Beerus, I can't help but feel like Frieza's return is not an issue in the slightest. In fact, everything about this film feels like it's a step down from what Battle of Gods introduced. The animation relied a lot more on CGI than the previous film did, not being integrated nearly as well as the few moments Battle of Gods used them. Even the story wasn't as interesting. It has less fun interactions between the characters and focuses more on the action, which honestly is nice. Especially since we do see characters that don't get the limelight shining here, like Roshi and Tien. Everything about this film doesn't seem nearly as well put together as Battle of Gods, especially since Super was right around the corner and fleshed out the story much more. Don't get me wrong, there is a lot that is enjoyable about the film. The fact that it just sort of devolves into an hour-long action scene is really fun, and the acting is top-notch, of course. While the story is the weakest aspect of this, any fan of Dragon Ball will be right at home loving this film. It just isn't one I can recommend the same way I'd recommend Battle of Gods for fans. If you're a non-fan, this gets a 5 out of 10, but I easily will give this a 7 or 8 for new fans. Hey guys, thanks for watching! If you liked this video, be sure to like and subscribe! If you want to see more reviews, then click the playlist to see my other stupid opinions. Alright, see you next video!